12 air-to-air missiles, hypersonic weapon capability, and a digital brain that can run apps like your smartphone, all wrapped in an airframe that's been dominating the skies for decades. The F-15EX Eagle II is a 30-year technological leap that's rewriting the rules of air combat. The United States Air Force had a problem. Aging F-15C Eagles in Air National Guard units were reaching their breaking point after decades of faithful service. These single-seat interceptors had defended American airspace since the Cold War. But time waits for no machine. The airframes were wearing out, parts were becoming scarce, and maintenance costs were skyrocketing. Something had to be done. Enter the F-15EX Eagle II, Boeing's latest evolution of the legendary Eagle platform. But this wasn't just a simple replacement program. The Air Force wanted something that could bridge the gap between yesterday's air superiority fighters and tomorrow's drone-controlling, network-commanding, hypersonic missile-launching super platforms. They wanted an Eagle that could hunt in the 21st century. At Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, something extraordinary was happening. The 85th Test and Evaluation Squadron, known as the Skulls, became the epicenter of F-15EX testing. Just 2 weeks after receiving their second F-15EX from Boeing's factory, they hauled it up to Alaska for Exercise Northern Edge, a massive, large-scale combat training event. Talk about trial by fire. The verdict was clear. This airplane was ready. But here's what made the testing philosophy different. The team wasn't staying narrowly focused on just replacing the F-15C. They were throwing everything at this jet, exploring capabilities that didn't even have official requirements yet. They flew it solo like the C model, but they also experimented with two-person crews, testing the waters for missions that haven't been fully defined. The Eagle II looks like an F-15, flies like an F-15, but underneath that familiar skin beats an entirely different heart. The most significant change? A digital, fly-by-wire flight control system that replaces the mechanical controls of previous Eagle variants. You still move the stick the same way, but now electrical signals interpret your inputs instead of cables and pulleys. For most flight regimes, pilots don't notice a dramatic difference in handling. But here's where the fly-by-wire system reveals its true power. Those electronic flight controls unlock 2 additional weapon stations on the outer wings, bringing the F-15EX's total missile carrying capacity to a staggering 12 air-to-air missiles. In a world where the United States might not have numerical superiority in aircraft, having each jet carry 4 extra missiles suddenly starts evening the odds. The fly-by-wire system constantly monitors the aircraft's stability, compensating for conditions that would cause older F-15s to lose control. Those outer wing stations were always there on previous Eagles, but the mechanical flight controls couldn't handle the asymmetric loads and weight distribution. The electronics changed everything. Now the F-15EX can carry weapons on those stations safely, and that capability is absolutely game-changing. Extensive developmental testing was required to validate this new system. Safety of flight is paramount. The digital fly-by-wire needed rigorous real-world evaluation across the entire flight envelope, comparing how it stacks up against the legacy mechanical systems. Every regime of flight had to be tested, from slow-speed handling to high-G maneuvers with maximum weapons loads. But how exactly is the Air Force planning to transform this traditional fighter into a futuristic command and control node that could simultaneously manage swarms of unmanned drones, shoot hypersonic weapons that other jets can't carry, battle-manage entire air campaigns from the cockpit, all while still dominating in traditional air-to-air combat? Well, the answer lies in what testers call the digital backbone. Running throughout the F-15EX's airframe is an Ethernet wiring system that connects directly to the weapon stations. The Eagle II can potentially run applications, actual apps, through separate computers or tablets linked to the jet while keeping critical safety of flight systems completely isolated. Imagine a weapons manufacturer develops a new missile. Traditionally, integrating that weapon requires extensive modifications to the aircraft's main operational flight program, a process that takes months or even years. With the F-15EX's digital backbone, you could theoretically run the weapon's software on an isolated system that communicates through the Ethernet network to the weapon stations, never touching the flight control computers. The test team has gotten incredibly creative with this capability. They're literally using iPads hooked up to the jet to push situational awareness and command and control information to the leading edge of the fight. The iPad draws power from the aircraft and uses the Link 16 tactical data link to communicate. Is it a little clunky having a tablet in the cockpit? Sure, but it's enabling them to add capabilities right now, immediately, without waiting for lengthy software development cycles. Quick break before we dive deeper. If you're loving this breakdown of the Eagle II's insane new capabilities, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe now so you never miss our deep dive. The F-15EX has already demonstrated its appetite for big weapons. During combat hammer exercises, Eagle II successfully fired two AGM-158 JASSM-ER missiles, the Joint Air-to-Surface Standoff Missile Extended Range variant. Each JASSM-ER weighs in at over 2,800 pounds and can strike targets nearly 600 miles away. When you start thinking about future hypersonic missiles, you need a platform that can physically carry them externally. Right now, that platform is the Eagle family. And it's not just about the weight, it's about the physical space under the wings, the structural reinforcements to handle asymmetric loads, and the electrical connections to communicate with smart weapons. The F-15EX was designed from the ground up to handle outsized weapons that other fighters simply cannot carry. This opens up an entirely new category of strike capability for the Air Force. The Air Force is also pushing rapid software upgrades to the F-15EX through agile development frameworks. Unlike older fighters that might wait years between major software updates, the Eagle II receives frequent upgrades to address fixes and add new capabilities. Some subsystems can be updated even faster. The Eagle Passive Active Warning Survivability System, EPAWSS for short, is one such system. This built-in electronic warfare suite can receive updated threat data and jamming techniques through line updates, essentially just loading new information through maintenance procedures. If a new enemy radar system pops up on the battlefield, the F-15EX can receive counter tactics within days, not months. Test pilots who've flown against EPAWSS-equipped aircraft report they definitely wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of its capabilities. Now, remember that two-seat cockpit in the F-15EX? Here's where the future gets really interesting. The Air Force bought the Eagle II primarily to replace single-seat F-15Cs, and the jet absolutely excels in that role with a lone pilot. But that fully equipped rear cockpit represents a massive pool of untapped potential. The test force isn't ignoring it, but what if that back seat could become something completely different than traditional weapons systems officers have ever done before? Could the rear cockpit of the F-15EX be transformed into a flying command center, where a backseater might not be managing weapons at all, but instead controlling multiple collaborative combat aircraft drones simultaneously, or functioning as an airborne battle manager, directing entire formations of fighters, or even operating as a cyber warfare specialist, penetrating enemy networks from 40,000 feet? Well, long-range kill chains are a major focus of current testing. The goal is shooting weapons at greater distances and extending data links and communications beyond line of sight. The Air Force is actively discussing multiple potential applications for that rear cockpit. Traditional weapons systems operator? Absolutely possible. A cyber warfare specialist? On the table. An air battle manager coordinating multiple aircraft? Being seriously considered. The large area display in the F-15EX's rear cockpit, with its customizable screens, makes data synthesis dramatically easier compared to the F-15E Strike Eagle's 4 monochrome displays from the 1980s. That improved situational awareness proves helpful across virtually every mission set. While there's no current collaborative combat aircraft testing happening with the Eagle II yet, the foundation is clearly being laid. Recent testing has expanded to include the Lockheed Martin Legion Infrared Search and Track Pod. This sensor operates in a different wavelength than the radar, using long-wave infrared to detect platforms outside the traditional X-band radar spectrum. F-15C units already employ Legion pods, and integrating them onto the Eagle II ensures continuity of capability. The Legion IRST is a master of one specific trade, finding aircraft, while the Sniper Targeting Pod is a jack-of-all-trades designed to do many different things. The IRST focuses exclusively on detection, and in that role, it absolutely dominates. The system can spot enemy aircraft at extended ranges without emitting any radiation, making the F-15EX effectively invisible while it hunts. The training pipeline for F-15EX pilots reflects how much commonality exists between the new Eagle and its predecessors. When the first Air National Guard crews from the 142nd Wing in Portland, Oregon, arrived at Eglin to transition to the Eagle II, they needed just 4 simulator rides and 3 actual flights to become qualified. 4 sims and 3 flights. That's it. Think about what that means. These pilots walked into a fighter that's 30 years more advanced than what they'd been flying, and within a week, they were combat ready. The common software and similar cockpit layout means difference training rather than starting from scratch. This dramatically reduces the cost and time burden of transitioning entire units from F-15Cs to F-15EXs. Here's what might surprise you about the F-15EX program. Despite all these incredible capabilities, despite the enormous potential for future missions, despite proving itself as an efficient replacement for the F-15C, the United States Air Force is currently capped at purchasing just 98 Eagle IIs. That's barely enough for 5 operational squadrons of 18 jets each, plus a handful for training and testing. Previous plans called for 144 F-15EXs, but budget realities have tightened that number significantly. This creates a fascinating tension in the program. The test force at Eglin is working overtime to prove the F-15EX's basic capabilities, while simultaneously demonstrating its potential for expanded roles. Every successful test in manned, unmanned teaming, command and control operations, air battle management, and rapidly adaptable weapons integration builds the case for why the Air Force needs more Eagle IIs, not fewer. It's a race against budget constraints. Prove the jet's worth before the money runs out. Demonstrate capabilities that decision makers didn't even know they needed. The F-15EX has already begun flowing to operational units. The 142nd Wing in Portland received their first Eagle II on June 6, 2024. Fresno Air National Guard Base in California and Naval Air Station Joint Reserve Base New Orleans in Louisiana have been selected as preferred locations for additional squadrons. 2 more squadrons will deploy forward to Kadena Air Base on Okinawa, filling the gap left by retiring F-15C and D units. Those overseas Eagles will serve as a critical component of America's Pacific deterrence strategy. In a region where tensions simmer and adversaries grow stronger, having fresh fighters with maximum weapons loads and advanced sensors sends a clear message. The Eagle is watching, and it's more dangerous than ever. Future upgrades are already being discussed for the brand new Eagles. Automatic Ground Collision Avoidance System, or AUTO-GCAS, is in the contracting phase. This potentially life-saving technology, already installed in F-16 and F-35s, uses terrain mapping and GPS to automatically pull aircraft out of unrecognized dives toward the ground. The Air Force hopes to leverage the extensive testing already completed for those other platforms. The F-15EX also has mounting points and wiring for forward and rear hemisphere missile approach warning systems. These sensors are fitted to Royal Saudi Air Force F-15 SAS and Qatar Emiri Air Force F-15EX. But there are no publicly acknowledged plans to add them to American jets yet. Still, the infrastructure is there, waiting should the need arise. The F-15EX is demonstrating remarkable versatility in early operational testing. During exercise Checkered Flag at Tyndall Air Force Base, Eagle II integrated with a full spectrum of combat aircraft. They flew alongside F-15Cs and F-15Es, their direct family members, but also with 5th-generation F-22 Raptors and F-35 Lightning IIs. The Combat Archer Weapons System Evaluation Program in the Gulf of Mexico has seen F-15EX pilots firing the internal 20mm cannon against air-to-air towed gunnery targets. The test team threw the Eagle II into exercise Black Flag at Nellis Air Force Base, one of the most challenging and realistic training events the Air Force conducts. These aren't gentle shakedown flights. The combined test force is deliberately exposing the F-15EX to the most demanding scenarios possible, ensuring that when frontline squadrons receive their jets, there are no surprises waiting. The integration of the F-15EX into existing Eagle units leverages decades of institutional knowledge while injecting fresh capability into the fighter force. Tactics, techniques, and procedures developed for the Strike Eagle easily transfer to the Eagle II. Weapons employment strategies refined through years of F-15C air superiority missions apply directly. But now those proven methods are enhanced by sensors, computers, and networking capabilities that represent 30 years of technological progress. The strategic calculus behind the F-15EX makes perfect sense when you step back and look at the bigger picture. The Air Force needed to replace aging F-15Cs that were literally wearing out. Developing an entirely new fighter would take over a decade and cost astronomical sums. Buying an existing, proven design that's already in production for international customers, that gets new jets to squadrons quickly while supporting the industrial base. Boeing's advanced F-15 line was humming along building jets for Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Modifying that design for American requirements was comparatively straightforward. The decision to go with an off-the-shelf solution also meant the F-15EX inherited years of development work paid for by foreign military sales. The digital fly-by-wire system, proven in service with international operators. The advanced cockpit displays, already flight tested. The structural enhancements allowing greater weapons loads, validated through thousands of flight hours. The two-seat configuration, while standard for Boeing's international advanced Eagles, takes on new significance in American hands. International operators use the back seat for traditional weapons systems officer roles in strike missions. The U.S. Air Force is investigating far more ambitious applications. The emphasis on rapid weapons integration deserves special attention. Modern conflicts evolve quickly. New threats emerge. New capabilities become available. The traditional acquisition process, where weapons integration takes years, can't keep pace with the operational tempo of modern warfare. The F-15EX's architecture potentially compresses that timeline from years to months, or even weeks for certain applications. The F-15 family has been defending American airspace since 1976. Nearly 50 years of continuous service. No air-to-air losses in combat. Over 100 victories against enemy aircraft. That legacy weighs heavily on the F-15EX program. The testing work continues at an aggressive pace. The combined test force at Eglin isn't just validating that the F-15EX can replace the F-15C, they're proving it can exceed what the C model could do, while opening doors to missions that previous Eagles couldn't even attempt. Every test, every integration with other aircraft, every new weapon or sensor validated adds to the Eagle II's resume of capabilities. The first operational squadrons are now receiving their jets. Pilots are transitioning from aging F-15Cs to brand new Eagle IIs with remarkably little difficulty. The jets are flying combat training exercises, shooting weapons, and proving themselves capable. Meanwhile, the test force continues pushing boundaries, exploring what else the platform might accomplish. What's clear is that the F-15EX represents something more than just a bridge fighter maintaining capability until sixth-generation aircraft arrive. The Eagle II is carving out its own place in the future force structure, demonstrating unique abilities that complement rather than duplicate what fifth-generation stealth fighters provide. The F-35 excels at penetrating defended airspace and operating in high-threat environments. Its stealth characteristics allow it to slip past enemy defenses and strike high-value targets. But the F-35 has limitations. Internal weapons bays restrict how much ordnance it can carry while remaining stealthy. When stealth isn't required, why use a more expensive, maintenance-intensive platform? This is where the F-15EX shines. It excels at carrying maximum ordnance, loitering for extended periods, and potentially managing other aircraft or weapon systems. In contested but not heavily defended airspace, the Eagle II brings overwhelming firepower. In permissive environments, it serves as a flying arsenal, ready to deliver whatever weapons the mission requires. The Air Force of 2035 or 2040 will likely feature multiple aircraft types working together in intricate combat networks. Stealthy F-35s operating forward, gathering intelligence and striking high-value targets. F-15EXs hanging back but still engaged, carrying oversized weapons, extending sensor coverage, potentially controlling collaborative combat aircraft. Sixth-generation fighters providing unprecedented capabilities that are only now being defined. In that future construct, the Eagle II isn't a compromise or a gap filler. It's a deliberate choice for specific missions. The F-15EX Eagle II is back with a vengeance, but perhaps vengeance isn't quite the right word. This isn't about settling old scores or proving doubters wrong. It's about evolution, about taking a proven design and launching it into the future. The Eagle that first flew in 1972 as a pure air superiority fighter has transformed into a multi-role platform capable of missions its designers never imagined. And that transformation isn't finished. The testing at Eglin continues. New capabilities are being validated. Future missions are being explored. The digital backbone enables possibilities that will only become clear as technology advances and requirements evolve. The F-15EX is ready for what the Air Force needs today, while remaining adaptable for what they might need tomorrow. In an era of budget constraints and difficult choices, the F-15EX offers a compelling value proposition. Proven reliability combined with cutting-edge technology, immediate capability paired with future potential. A fighter that can defend American airspace today while evolving to meet whatever challenges emerge in the decades ahead. The Eagle has landed, and it's here to stay. So if you could design the perfect mission for the F-15EX's backseat, what would you choose? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most capable fighters, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We've got more incredible military aviation content coming your way.